Well, hi there, and welcome to this video on how to incorporate podcasting into your teaching. In this video, we're going to look at how to install Audacity onto your computer, what kind of hardware requirements you need, how to make and edit your first podcast, and how to add your podcast to Google Sites. And we'll finish up with some resources for podcasting. So first of all, we're going to look at how to install Audacity onto your computer. Audacity is a free recording software that allows you to record, edit and add effects to create podcasts within minutes. It's very simple. All you need is to record, play and stop buttons to get started. You can do lots of things like amplify, fade in, fade out, split tracks, add tracks and music. First off, you'll need to download Audacity to your PC. Once you've downloaded it, you're ready to start. Let's look briefly at some of the hardware you need. You'll need a microphone, doesn't need to be too expensive. You'll need Audacity itself. You'll need a script of some sort of what you want to say. And finally you need you, best off in a quiet place and ready to podcast. Okay, so let's look at how to make your first podcast. Open the Audacity and switch on the microphone. Just double check that you have the right microphone selected. You can adjust the microphone level. It's usually best to have the input volume on at 1. You can check that the computer is detecting the microphone input by selecting Monitor Input, and you'll see as you speak the red bar goes up and down indicating that the voice is being detected. Okay, so press record and you'll see as you speak the program will record your sound into the program. If you make a mistake, just pause for 3 seconds and that will identify it on the timeline so you can edit it out later on. When you're finished, just press the stop button and that's your first podcast. Let's look at some editing procedures now. You might have to remove some ums and ahs, maybe any mistakes, and you might need to amplify the volume. So you can play back over the piece and identify if there were too many ums and ahs. Don't worry if there's just 1 or 2. So let's pretend this is a section where there was an I'll just play over it again just to check that it is the right part. Then I'll highlight it just by clicking on the mouse and dragging the section, and then I can choose the edit menu and cut. Or I can just click the cut tool and that removes it. Earlier on we had said we had made a mistake. This part here identifies the mistake. You can highlight it and play it just to make sure that you're going to cut out the right part. So just playing that section, you can cut it out, and then you can cut out the 3-second pause that helped you identify where the mistake was on the timeline. And when you're finished, just play over that little bit again, just to make sure it sounds okay. When you've done that, you want to save your file so you can export as MP3. The first time you do that, it'll ask you to find the lame decoder that's described in the website. So I'm going to call this sample.mp3, save it in my folder. You can put in details here if you like, or just press OK. And now I'm ready to upload my file. So we look at adding the podcast now to Google. So here's a test site that I'm going to use. First of all, I want to create a page that I'm going to put my podcast onto. Let's pretend it's a feedback file. So my web page is going to be called Feedback on Group Activity 1. It's not going to be a top level page, it's going to be a sub level. So I click on the second option and press OK. The page is created now. So first off, I'm going to put in some text just to tell the students that this is a feedback file. Now I just need to save that page and then upload my MP3 file. So if we go into the More Actions button, choose Manage Site, and then click on the Attachments link. click on Upload, find that MP3 file that you just saved, open it, and click Upload. It might take a few minutes to upload, depending on your own connection speed. Okay, there's mine. Now here we need to do a little trick. We need to find the link. There's some information on the webpage on how to do this. I've got a Firefox add-on that allows me to copy the link. So here I'm copying this link. And now that's the website or the web address where my MP3 file is. Okay, so I'm finished here. So I can return to my site. And now I want to put it into my page that I've just created, feedback on group activity 1. There's two things we can do. The first is we can just choose the link option in Google Sites. So click here where I want it to go, choose the link option, and just paste, because remember I just copied that web page, so I just paste that URL into this box and press OK. So that's the web address where that podcast is held. That's fine. But on Google Sites there are lots of gadgets, and we can insert a gadget that will play an MP3 file, and it just looks much nicer on the web page. So if I go to the Insert menu and scroll all the way down, there'll be an option called More Gadgets. It's just gone off the page here. There it is. Choose More Gadgets. A good one's called Audio MP3 Player, so if I type in that into the search, it'll return 4 hits. They're all pretty much the same. So I like the third one. I'm going to choose that one. Press OK. And now we get a dialog box. We just have to put in where we want, where our MP3 file is. So that's that web address again. I'd recommend you turn off autoplay so that the podcast doesn't start as soon as the page is open. You can choose your colours. And it's nice here if you can put a purposeful title on the podcast. So here I'm calling it Feedback on Group Activity 1. Once you've done all that, you can click OK. And now we see we have this box called Google Gadget. But when we save the page, so I click on Save. You see here are two options. The first one is the link, and the second one is this MP3 player. So if I click play, it'll play the MP3 file. It just looks much nicer on the web page. Of course, if I click on the link, it'll just ask me, do I want to open or save that link? So I can open it, and it'll open in the standard media player, for example, Windows Media Player. Okay, so just to finish up this section, I'm going to clean up my web page. I'm going to take out the link and just leave the Gadget MP3 player. But remember, to copy that link initially, just have a look at the how-to guide on the website. Okay, so we'll just look at a few resources now for podcasting. We'll put 3 here, and then there's lots on the web page. Because if you Google Audacity on podcasting, you'll get lots of hits, lots of advice out there. I put 3 here of interest to teachers. The first one is a very detailed, giving information on how to use Audacity. The second one shows 10 great ways of using Audacity with your students. And the third one is a teacher's guide on how to use Audacity. So there's lots out there. Okay, so that's it. I hope you found this video useful on podcasting.